Coming up today on Good Morning BU.
Victory for the Great White North. See how Canada sealed the deal as the top tournament team in the world.
And transnational gang members who are allegedly connected to 6 murders in Massachusetts were arrested on Wednesday.
A man not affiliated with BU was arrested after trespassing on BU property.
Our sports correspondent takes a look at a prank that could go down in history for the BU men's ice hockey team.
And meet a family member of the owner of one of Boston's most iconic sites.
Live from Studio West in the College of Communication, Good Morning BU starts right now.
Hello and welcome to Good Morning BU. I'm Akua DeVal.
And I'm Sophia Falbo. Here are today's top stories. Hamas handed over what they claimed were the remains of 4 Israelis taken hostage during the October 7th attack on Thursday. Israel identified the remains of child hostages Ariel and Kafir Bibas, but rejected a third body from Hamas, saying it was not their mother, Cherie Bibas. The military has accused Hamas of violating the ceasefire agreement and has insisted they were murdered in captivity, citing unrevealed forensic evidence. Hamas, however, claims an Israeli airstrike killed the hostages. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed revenge in a video statement this morning.
We will operate determinedly to bring Cherie home along with our hostages, both the living and the dead, and ensure that Hamas pays the full price for this cruel and vicious violation.
Ariel and Kafir's father, Yarden Bibas, is now the sole survivor of the family. Yarden was also kidnapped, but was returned as part of the hostage return agreement on February 1st. Thousands mourned in Tel Aviv's Hostages Square, with Hamas set to release 6 hostages on Saturday in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. Tensions remain high as both sides grapple with the ceasefire.
Moving closer west, President Donald Trump criticized Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky for recklessly entering into a war against Russia.
When they want a seat at the table, you could say the people have to, wouldn't the people of Ukraine have to say, like, you know, it's been a long time since we've had an election. That's not a Russia thing. That's something coming from me and coming from many other countries also. But today I heard, oh, well, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal.
Trump posted his complaints on his platform Truth Social. Trump wrote that he is currently working to negotiate an end to the war with no help from Zelensky. He said he thinks Ukraine is in need of a new president. Back in Washington, the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, was quickly to claim that they cut $8.5 billion in federal expenses through an immigrations and customs enforcement contract. However, the New York Times reports that the money saved was only $8.5 million. At the White House, Trump signed an executive order Tuesday aiming to make in vitro fertilization treatment more affordable and easier to access. IVF is a medical procedure that helps people facing infertility. Both their families and one cycle can cost up to $15,000. The order instructs that assistant to the president in domestic policy to write up recommendations to lower costs in 90 days. Moving towards Capitol Hill, the Senate confirmed Kash Patel as FBI director in a tight vote. In a 51-49 vote, senators installed a sage ally of Trump to the nation's top law enforcement agency. Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins joined Democrats in voting against his nomination. Patel's nomination faced scrutiny from Democrats in Congress who will fear Patel will use his own office to seek retribution against perceived Trump political enemies.
Trump's 10% tariff implementation on China and proposed 25% implementation on Canada and Mexico leaves Boston University students questioning how it will affect their expenses. Our correspondent Fiona Bright-Holton talks with students about their concerns.
Earlier this month, President Donald Trump declared tariffs on major American trading partners, Canada, Mexico, and China, leaving many BU students concerned about the rising prices and cost of living. Trump's tariffs include a 25% tax on imports from Canada and Mexico, which is currently delayed, and a 10% tax on Chinese imports. Lawrence Kotlikoff, a BU professor and economist, said these tariffs will place a burden on U.S. consumers and can lead to a trade war that could leave the U.S. economically isolated.
Trump has this fantasy that the exporters around the world are going to export their goods at a lower price because of our tariff. But there's nothing that suggests that foreigners are going to pay for these tariffs.
These tariffs are already impacting students who say they are worried they're going to have to cut back on groceries if the tariffs take effect.
I think that as they're implemented, I'm going to have to make some pretty important decisions about what I'm buying for myself and what I choose to consume.
BU student Eli Wilkie said they will need to take other measures to compensate for the unforeseen price hikes.
I would probably have to dip into some of my savings more that I've been trying to keep. So I'm really trying to stay out of as much debt as possible. So dipping into that, it's unfortunate.
BU student Ricardo Pons says he is concerned that tariffs may negatively affect relations with other countries.
I see a lot of possibility for increased tensions between the U.S. and Mexico that might prove to be detrimental to both countries.
While the goal of these tariffs was to address issues like immigration and the border, it is clear that the American consumer, especially college students, will bear the brunt of higher prices in the coming weeks. Reporting for Good Morning BU, I'm Fiona Bright-Holton.
Thanks, Fiona. The Trump administration's cost-cutting efforts are continuing domestically. Per order of the Department of Government Efficiency, the United States Revenue Service will lay off around 7,000 workers this Thursday. The layoffs will apply to employees who have worked at the IRS for 1 year or less, with a specific target on the Compliance Department. The Compliance Department ensures citizens abide by tax laws and has collected over $1.3 billion from wealthy tax dodgers in 2024. Currently, the IRS has over 90,000 employees, of which 56% are people of color and 65% are women.
Staying within the U.S. government, the military and Pentagon defense budget is expected to be cut by 8% in the next 5 years. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has demanded that officials begin submitting plans to enact this change. Though the Defense Department will feel this cut, other branches of the military may not. Military stations at the U.S. southern border will be the target of this money redistribution, as favored by the Trump administration. Hegseth affirms the budget will bolster issues prioritized by the new president, with immigration control being only one of many.
A federal judge is waiting to make an official ruling in New York City Mayor Eric Adams' case to have his charges dismissed. Last week, the DOJ requested Adams' 5 charges for federal corruption and bribery be dismissed. The DOJ argued that a criminal trial involving Adams would prevent him from carrying out the Trump administration's goal of cracking down on the large amounts of migrants in New York City. Critics are saying the federal government should not influence a criminal case. Others have criticized Adams' perceived alliance with Trump, including Governor Kathy Hochul, who says there is a, quote, "a clear line between cooperation and coercion," unquote. Hochul says that she will be putting oversight measures into place to prevent unnecessary federal influence.
83-year-old Senator Mitch McConnell announced his plan to retire next year. McConnell said on Thursday that he will not seek re-election for an 8th term after being the most consequential Republican senator of his generation.
Representing our Commonwealth has been the honor of a lifetime. I will not seek this honor an 8th time.
McConnell received a standing ovation after his address, and several Kentucky Republicans have made moves to prepare to enter the race for his position.
In sports news, Team Canada stunned the USA in a 3-2 overtime thriller at TD Garden last night to win the Four Nations Face-Off hockey tournament. In a back-and-forth matchup, different from USA's 6-1 win in the round-robin stage. Canada's Connor McDavid scored the golden goal 8 minutes into overtime, silencing USA chants around the rink. Fellow teammate Nathan MacKinnon won tournament MVP for scoring 4 goals in 4 games, including opening goal in the championship.
Stay tuned to hear about the detention of a Massachusetts man in Texas and an update on the JFK Presidential Library after this break.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that the big homie needs help too. You can't just rebound from everything. I know you've been grinding.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. I wonder why we waited so long. I'm not wondering anymore. Love, your mind. Let's see how far we can go.
Welcome back. A Massachusetts man that was initially detained in state is fighting to be released from an ICE detention center in Texas. Lucas Dos Santos Amaro, whose tourist visa expired, was detained in Marlboro in January after being pulled over by ICE agents. 1 week after his arrest, a judge approved an ICE-led petition to transfer his case to a Texas court. Amaro's arrest is an example of collateral arrest, which is when ICE agents arrest someone while searching for someone else. Amaro's immigration hearing to argue for his release on bond is next week.
The John F. Kennedy Presidential Library reopened on Wednesday with free admission just 1 day after an unexpected closure. 5 junior staffers were laid off as part of the Trump administration's initiative to dismiss probationary federal employees, causing the shutdown. Director Alan Price says the decision to close on Tuesday was practical rather than political. Price claims that the 5 layoffs were in guest services, and because he was out of town, the team was not in a position to stay open. Many of the laid-off employees were in charge of processing payments at the main ticket counter, so admission to the museum was made free for guests in the days following the closure. While the museum adjusted to these sudden changes, law enforcement was dealing with a different disruption.
Transnational Trinitarian gang members allegedly connected to 6 murders in Massachusetts were arrested on Wednesday. 22 people are accused of affiliations with gang members and associates. The U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts, Leah Foley, said 14 of the accused gang members are connected with 6 homicides. She said, quote, "It is alleged that these gang members did not just commit violence, they celebrated it, glorifying their crimes," unquote. Federal officials say the gang tried to dominate communities and control certain neighborhoods. The man in charge of the gang, Emmanuel Calapagral, is currently in custody.
In the latest in the Karen Reed trial, prosecutors accused the defense of improperly coordinating with expert witnesses during trial. Prosecutors claim the experts were paid about $23,000 by the defense, despite the jury being told they were retained independently. Prosecutors presented emails and notes implying the defense had more communication with the experts than previously revealed. Judge Beverly J. Cannoni states that this new information, quote, "may have profound effects on this defense and defense counsel," unquote. A hearing is set to take place on February 25th to address the allegations.
On a brighter note, Boston should be getting better weather this weekend. We have Fiona Brighton Holton in studio with us today to break it down for us. Fiona, thanks for being with here.
Thanks, Akua. You're right, good days ahead. Let's look at the local forecast for the next 2 days. Spring feels closer every day with a sunny-looking weekend, but keep your coats close and put your sunglasses on today with a high of 32, dipping into 13 in the night. The sun will be out this weekend as well, and it will begin to warm up with a high of 36 on Saturday, all the way up to a high of 40 on Sunday. It might be cold, but the sun makes for a bright weekend. Do you guys have any fun weekend plans?
Well, I was planning to just stay inside, but now you've inspired me to get out there.
Yeah.
I might be at the Commons or the North End just soaking up the sun after how brutally cold it's been the past week.
No, it's going to inspire me to frolic. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sunshine in Boston? Now that's something to smile about as we take a quick break.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
It's important to get a flu shot each and every year because flu viruses are constantly changing and immunity from the vaccine decreases over time. Flu vaccines are updated annually to work against that year's viruses. The best time to get your shot is in the fall, but getting it later can still help. Getting a flu shot lowers your risk of getting sick, and if you do happen to get flu, it's likely to be less severe.
Welcome back. A man was arrested at BU's Questrom School of Business on Thursday. Richard Pian was previously warned he may be arrested if he trespassed on BU property after the university received complaints he harassed students. One of our co-anchors, Kara Mim, is in front of Questrom right now to hear the latest. Hey Kara, what's going on down Comm Ave?
Hey, Sophia. Yeah, this arrest really had students buzzing online yesterday. And fairly enough, you do not see someone getting escorted out of a Questrom every day. In fact, these doors right here. And I do really just want to reiterate that Richard Pian, he's not a professor, just a trespasser. So when contacted this morning, Boston Police Department, they said they have no 911 call related to him, no recorded booking either. So I contacted the Boston University Police Department about a status update, and they sternly told me they do not make press comments. So I am here right now with Camille Bugajong. She is the Daily Free Press reporter who broke this story. Camille, can you tell us more about it?
What we know now is that Pian previously claimed to be connected to another university in the area, as well as some politicians, but this turned out not to be true. Witnesses yesterday saw two police officers holding Pian's handcuffed arms as he was escorted out of the building and into a police car out front.
Thank you, Camille. And that's the update for now. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Kara. On a lighter note, we'll hear about the BU students who make hockey fun after this short break.
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back. The BU men's ice hockey team came back to Comm Ave as Beanpot champions last week. But they weren't the only ones who had a successful night. Our sports correspondent Lily Chapman took a peek into section 118 to find out how the dog Bulldog pulled a prank that could go down in history.
For Boston University hockey fans, the only thing better than winning the Beanpot was this prank pulled by the Dog Pound.
I was just like under it, and I wasn't holding it anymore. And I was like, oh my God, we actually did it. Like they actually fell for it.
Executive board member Ethan Gasse says he was inspired to infiltrate Boston College's student section with a BC Sucks sign after seeing pictures of Yale's infamous prank against Harvard in 2004.
I was like, this is my eureka moment. We should do this.
The Dog Pound president Paco Mogel gave the green light the day of the Beanpot finals. Gasse says he and his friends pretended to be diehard BC fans and created an elaborate fake storyline complete with fake girlfriends.
We're such diehard BC fans, but we don't have anything that says BC on. What's our story? And I'm like, our girlfriends are coming, and they have our jerseys. My girlfriend Chelsea's coming. This is like a big moment for us.
When I saw the prank worked, that's when I said, like, this is it. This is the best thing that I've experienced as a BU student.
Mogel joined the Dog Pound after COVID, a period for BU hockey he says had low attendance and energy.
I think that my main legacy, it's just growing the Dog Pound and bringing it back and being something that students can just look forward to coming back every weekend just to hockey games or sports games in general.
But as the season comes to a close, Gasse and Mogel are preparing for the last time they can support the team as students with their friends.
Because I'm a senior, everything that I've ever been a part of, I want it to be an improvement upon itself. It's just a prank, but like it was so symbolic. It wasn't just like, oh, Ethan did his prank. It was, look what the Dog Pound did to BC's fan section.
There was this part of like college between like my freshman year and sophomore year where I felt a little bit lost. And I think the Dog Pound really helped me like reconnect with the things I loved. Like my home at BU, it wasn't my dorm. My home was Aganis Arena, Walter Brown Arena. It just means everything to me. It's a place where I can be myself and have fun, and like people will just like have fun with me, and it's just awesome.
Both Gassé and Mogel say that the Dog Pound is hopeful that both teams, men and women, will have a deep postseason run. For Mogel, this weekend marks his last game with the Dog Pound for the regular season. For Good Morning BU, I'm Lily Chapman.
Thanks, Lily. Stay tuned to hear from singer and songwriter Ione in an exclusive GMBU interview.
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive, ZWX. You're not okay to drive. YGKLVW, regular you.
Welcome back. Kara was at Questrom today, but earlier this week she sat down with musical artist Ione about her new single 2 that was released today.
I'm here with one of Def Jam's newest artists, Ione, ahead of her performance tonight and new single release. Ione, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're so excited. Okay, so starting off first, we just wanted to ask, like, how did you get into music? And I know for a lot of people when they're younger, they might have this dream to be a singer or performer, but I don't think a lot of people actually chase after that dream. So when did you make that like jump to this is what I want to do and this is how I'm going to do it?
Yeah, I think from a very young age, like I knew I wanted to be a singer. I feel like some of my earliest memories living in Miami, like the Cheetah Girls, like Raven Simone, I just remember like listening to their music and their records. Also like Tiffany Evans was like a child phenomenon singer, and I was like, I want to be able to hit those notes someday. And like I remember at the age of 6 or 7, like I couldn't hit certain notes just because I wasn't there. But I was like, someday I'll be able to sing this song, and like I had these benchmarks of like being a good singer. I think around the age of 11, 12, 13, when I started like performing songs in middle school and they were actually resonating with people, I think that was the start of like, oh, maybe I could like have an artistry, career more than just like a singer, but maybe like the songs that I'm creating can someday like hold their own weight.
Yeah. And you spoke a little bit about that inspiration. Is there anyone in specific, maybe someone local that we don't know about or someone, a big name?
Yeah, I mean, I always credit Adele with like getting me into my artistry.
We listened to your music yesterday and both Sophie and I texted at the same time like, oh my gosh, she sounds just like that beautiful, powerful voice.
Thank you.
Yes, and just crisp vocals. And now you're on tour. What has that been? You have a show tonight and then 2 more after that, so you're towards the end.
Yeah.
What's it been like?
It's been amazing. This has been my first tour. I've been opening for Michelle. We started in Toronto and we just kind of made our way through the Midwest and the East Coast. And as you said, we're gonna end the Sinclair tonight, couple shows in New York at Music Hall of Williamsburg. And it's been amazing. Like, I think seeing and connecting with so many fans, like there's been people that have driven hours like across states to like see my set, which is as an opener, like super unreal and special. But yeah, it's just been brilliant. I think I've been really grateful to also get to like play a lot of records that aren't out mostly every night. So getting a really good feel for like what resonates with people, like what records, what points of certain records are, exciting to an audience.
And speaking of unreleased, you have a new song coming out this Friday.
Yeah.
Tell us about that writing process. Was this one different than others?
It was, yeah. 2 was really fun for me. I think sonically it's just completely different from anything I've ever released before. It's kind of the start of me entering this more like pop soul space musically. Yeah. I think the writing process of this record was just really fun. Like, I was in a very toxic situationship, dating another Gemini, and it was like, wow, very tit for tat, very Tom and Jerry vibes.
Okay, and the final question, if you could see anyone in concert, dead or alive, who would it be?
I would say a couple people.
Okay.
I would say Amy, probably like right after Frank, or Aretha Franklin.
Okay.
Good choices. I think those are great.
I would really enjoy just like to hear them sing.
Yeah, they're beautiful, beautiful voices, just like you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
And we wish you the best of luck on the rest of
you.
your tour. Yeah.
Thank you.
Back to the desk.
Thanks, Kara. Is anyone in the mood for a sweet treat? This morning, we're headed to the North End for a quick bite of a family-owned pastry shop.
The North End has been the cornerstone of Italian culture since the 1800s. As Italian culture bleeds together with the Boston streets, you get places like this, Mike's Pastries. Today, I'm interviewing Joseph, the grandson of Michael Mercogliano, the Mike behind the pastry.
Personally, I think the North End is one of the greatest places in the world. And with that, there's a lot of pride in keeping a business here for as long as we can. Most of my memories come from running in the back and stealing the sugar cream frosting or eating the almonds from other teachers' bench. I can remember a lot of my time as he got a little bit older, spending time with him as the office as he kind of oversaw the entire operation. But of course, I had a lot of memories because nobody else handled their cannoli shells like we do. And I'll give you a chance to show you in the back that we make every single cannoli shell that you see by hand. Most other places are buying their cannoli shells, and that's just what separates us. I'm not saying that it's the worst or ours are better. I'm just saying that's what separates. That's what separates us. You can say that. We'll let you say that. But that's really what separates us. It's a lot of hard work. We hand roll about 35 to 40,000 cannoli shells per week. In standard times, we're not going to make that cold January, but that is the biggest differentiator between us and everyone else. But at the end of the day, I think we are a family business, and that's who we are.
From the North End, I'm Quinn McPherson with BU TV. I don't know about you, Akua, but watching that package just made me hungry.
Yeah, especially with the sunny weather, I might make my way down to the North End.
Oh, I definitely am. What's your favorite type of cannoli?
I would say I'm a coffee girl at heart, not just liquid, but also in cream, anything. So I would have to say a coffee one.
Coffee's pretty good. I think I'm just like classic. I don't really mess with the basics. It's been perfected at this point.
Listen,
I can't do better than that.
An oldie but a goodie.
Exactly. I think a good weekend treat would be Mike's Pastry Cannoli and listening to Two by Ione, the new single that's just released today.
While frolicking in the sun.
That sounds great. I mean, what
I
more
got my
could you
weekend
ask
plan
for?
set.
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't know what else you have going on this weekend, but I just have so much homework. I feel like everyone's finally getting slammed in the middle of midterm season.
No, it is really that season. I get it. So thankfully, the universe knew that the sunlight was needed for us.
I think a little vitamin D should hopefully try to cure all the Mooger blues. It's so dreary in there sometimes.
I know, right? It's like each time you get on the floor, it just seems like it's more cloudy and cloudy. But I'm very happy that I'm spending this weekend in sunlight, and I hope you have a great weekend too.
Yes, thank you so much for joining me on the desk. It was an absolute pleasure having you here with us today.
Thank you for letting me join you.
Of course. That's going to do it for this week at Good Morning BU.
From all of us here on GMBU, thank you and have a great day.